asking for advice. It was a very simple way that when my doctor... This first asking for advice that took place in the end of February, 2 weeks before I started the YouTube project and 2 weeks before the close down of Finland because of the coronavirus. And the main problem was, should we go or should I go to the YouTube or not, and or is there any other options? Lea was really doubting and putting conditions on me, and the main condition was that I have to organize this asking for advice event, invite some people we know and who know about working in internet, and discuss the issue. And happily I did have artist friends talking about their project in internet and then commenting my case. So first I saw some of the days that I had edited for them. Then Heidi Tikka, a media artist, she talks about her project in internet in 2000 something, and Ilkka Sariola, who is one of the persons with whom I gradually created the project, actually 3 years before I actually started. I talked with Ilkka Sariola and Kuvat Zweigberg and Lea on a forest walk, and then Ilkka came with the idea that why I wouldn't put old stuff and new stuff in the internet. And then Leena Kela was talking about her project in Instagram, 1 year demonstration, and Anette Arlander was supposed to talk about her project, 1 year project from Johannesburg, but the connection failed. Anyhow, this was really a fruitful discussion, and even though we were not that many, but the discussion was really fruitful, and I would say that as a result of this 2 hours meeting, I do have the YouTube channel now, and now with this video I'm opening this asking for advice channel, and the other participants I will introduce in the text. And so this is a kind of a proof screening. You will see 3 days, and actually the last one is 2018.
Like Pekka said, I'm being kind of a back devil, takapiru in Finnish. Midwife. He says midwife, I say back devil. Exorcist. From the beginning of the work, I remember the exact area in Mäntsälä forest where we were walking. We have done lots of walkings there and discussing everything between heaven and earth.
I'll just show a couple of images from the soon-to-be project, which you... yeah, they're quite dark. Yeah. So this was in the back space of Kiasma. You may recognize the place. And the idea was that I had a couple of mobile phones which had this capacity of sending images, which was really revolutionary in 2003.
For me, maybe I'll just to show you something. For me, maybe the crucial point was somewhere here when I got really ill, and I got paralyzed, and I ended up in a hospital, and I had, without knowing what over one night I got paralyzed, and I went to the hospital still with the sign, and thinking of this has not, now I'm ready to quit, but then the commitment and endurance and this sort of performance artist mindset somehow I decided to continue.
When we worked on these performing families, for instance, that like it was a very conscious play, and the kind of the agency of the camera was really important in that play. But then now when I watched your video footage here, I became aware of the extent of which you are also performing for the camera. So that I think like those settings are quite not staged, but very well chosen, and that there is a kind of thinking behind the setup and then like how you talk to the camera. So that I think that there is much more that kind of sense of performing for the camera than I understood when I saw those as a kind of random collection before. And then I just started to think about the kind of spatial difference between the situation in which, for instance, we are now, like that this camera is quite a big construction which is dominating this space, and then you turn it and to face the people talking, so that we have to talk to the camera. And then like with that kind of, and especially when it was a new piece of equipment, like it was something that was in your hand and that followed you everywhere, and that could very easily pass from one hand to another. So that kind of like that kind of a space that became constructed through that kind of camera performance is very different from your static camera, which is very dominating.
Is it like because of like now, since you talked about the sort of the technical equipment that allowed you to do the project and was still somehow like you didn't own it yourself, you had to get it from someone else, so it was too maybe expensive to have, not everyone has it, but nowadays like we all have that in our pocket. So, and we also have the access to these channels, so is it that it's kind of like very democratic sort of platform, even though it's corporeal and problematic, but like still there's an access to publicity for anyone. And I was thinking it in this demonstration project that why kind of on the like reversing it, that since we have this access to publicity for anyone and a space to speak, let's say, why do people still go on streets and demonstrate? Because they could just go and shout in social media and have their say there. That what is this kind of the relation of like this reality and then what can go kind of the public in the social in the media in the internet kind of global possible public. Just
well,
a thought
just
on
to
that.
comment that I interviewed what this from this critical art ensemble who has been done this how do you call it? Because this cyber demonstrations. So he was saying that these street demonstrations are just old-fashioned. They doesn't work anymore. That now it was about the year 2000 or before that, and he was thinking that everything will happen, in the social media, and now it's
reversed. It's complete. Yeah,
yes.
Like the power is on the streets.
So the history. So yes.
So is it some shift that we are also witnessing? Like people are also getting fed up with this social media.
Yeah, because you don't believe what is going on there.
Yeah.
But also they are combining like Arabic Spring. It would never happen without social media. Then they gathered together because they.
But then it still happens on the streets.
Yeah, but not without, because then they could decide where we go at the same time without the government. So they are combining things also.
I would bring back to our problems, or my problem, that this kind of, you were mentioning that now there's kind of two ways of talking. Like Ilkka and Lena, I kind of sense that you talk like it's the open space, that everybody, it's a democratic, and that's one true, and then you are, that now it's kind of lost to the monetary logic, that we should create the internet again to get that space that we were dreaming of before. So I think that's kind of the in a nutshell, my problem now with the problem that these two trends are fighting inside me, and that can be kind of more sophisticated way of saying what I'm asking.
And also
advice.
inside our family. Do all you, except I don't know you before, but I mean, I'm so much more a cautious person, and also a person, like in my art, I want to control. And so how we worked before together, this is there is always this balance that Pekka goes and does things, and I'm like going and censoring him, and oh no, this is shameful, and think of somebody up there would see it, and it would really be an embarrassment for everybody of us and for the whole of the family. And we have this kind of family roles, and we play with these roles, and we exaggerate these roles, and we are both very conscious that we need each other in this. But now I'm really hesitating. So actually I haven't given a permission for Pekka yet to put this all on YouTube. And I even made him promise that he promised to me that if I demand it, he tries it in some other media first.
What are your main oppositions?
Everything you say, like how much this money control all this YouTube and Google, and who gains from this, and what is the political purpose that we serve? Shall we really give the copyright of our delicate family baby pictures to YouTube forever, and we can never get out of it, and so like both personal and political doubts. But so Pekka hesitates, I hesitate, we hesitate together, and we have different concerns.
Well, I'd like Jouko to say what's Yle doing, because
well,
kind of
during the pause we were just talking that I just heard that YLE, Finnish broadcasting company, public service broadcasting company is using YouTube to distribute the short programs to get younger audiences for the official platform. So even they are using the commercial multinational.
So everything is kind of obeying these big multinationals, even the nation, state-owned companies.
And definitely there are problems concerning this kind of policy. Although they had made a deal that when people are watching these programs of YLE, they are not screening advertisements in front of this. But anyway, it's in a way YLE is supporting YouTube with our taxpayers' money.
But can I comment next?
Yeah.
Because I think that like it's part of kind of like it's unavoidable when you work in the field of media art, that like you have to do something that hasn't been done before, and which is little bit difficult to imagine beforehand, and that's part of the reason of doing it. That you want to see. I'm sure that you're curious about, where are you going to be in 5 years if you continue with this, and I think that thrill is very important thing driving our practice. So I think like we made several mistakes when we did those projects in the past, and for instance now I think the kind of the way my son, for instance, is photographed, I don't know if he will ever forgive me. But they are part of this like internet. I can never be sure that they are like all the images are uprooted from there. So like that, the mistakes have been done, and like we just have to live with them. And I think that in a sense, it's a very different cultural and political and media political situation in which you're producing this. But I think you can't but do mistakes, and then you have to live with them. But if you want to do something, like if you want to be part of like this, I don't know, speculative practice of intervening in these spaces and thinking about these configurations, then you just have to do it.
But is there any option for the YouTube?
Vimeo.
Do you see? Sorry.
Vimeo.
And how you find the public there?
It's the same. What do you mean?
But much
How people
more
will
limited.
find? How
Yeah.
people will find?
The audience is not so big. as in YouTube.
Small audience. Do you want small or big audience?
Yeah, that's the question, I think. Do you want a big audience? Or?
Well, I think there's two things. That one is that I can see that if I have to invite people and kind of make publicity for the work and do the work and everything together, like you said, that if there is a team behind, it would be different. So it cannot be too complicated to get the access for the people. That's one thing. And the other thing is that if I wanted, my research is somehow kind of politically important, so I should go there where the culture is, this type of video working is, and not making in this kind of art ghetto or whatever kind of special circumstances. Then I'm not sure even what kind of results do I get working in the Vimeo. And I mean, how do I relate it that actually to the video bloggers or whatever, that culture?
What does your choice say about artistic labor? Like, because you are treating this material as art, if I am correct.
Mm-hmm.
So you are putting it there without getting paid,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, no, yes.
And with kind of giving up your copyrights. So what does this say if I am to talk as an artist? And what do what does it say to me, or what kind of, because you're also an older artist, or what kind of situation, like in the labor market or in the art market, that creates for me?
I don't think you lose your copyrights if you put it there. You can of course copy, but still copyright is
I don't think you meant that.
I mean, like, that you're working and producing work for a platform that you have no control over, and for what we all agree it's like a multi-million or multi-billion organization or company, and then you are agreeing not to get paid for your labor, and you are also agreeing that this labor that you are giving up in a way the right to control how it's used by others, because then YouTube can actually decide when I put something up and it's yours. YouTube has to decide that it's yours or that it belongs to you, because there was like with I don't know if it changed, but with other like internet, like Instagram projects, then Instagram had to actually mediate the removal of the picture. The artists themselves couldn't do it by themselves. They needed Instagram to mediate.
Yeah, I think it is so that's a good point, but I think it is so that you, when you make a picture or video or whatever and put it there, you have the copyright, but when you put it in the YouTube, you give the YouTube permission to use it in that connection. That doesn't mean that you don't have it anymore. You have it, but you have given the permission to YouTube to distribute it and to use it. And I can see the problem, but I think in this case it's a little bit more complicated, because where the art lies, it's also in that context that it is put for the public, and it's not only the videos themselves which is art. It's very performative art and also kind of conceptual art. So it's a little bit complicated. That does it exist without this kind of distributing system? So it's a good question.
You think the same of your works also?
Hey, thank you everyone. Nice to meet you.
Train is leaving.
Bye.
But was that still the question you were asking? Because I understood it differently.
I am asking what it says about the art market and the labor conditions for the artists.
Yeah.
That one gives their labor up for free in order to reach an audience. And today also I had a lecture here, like we were discussing how public is something when it becomes private. It's the privatization of the idea of the public. We are talking about the public or a public sphere. Also Lena was referring to as a public platform or some kind of democracy, but when that is privatized, when that is owned, how public is it really, or what kind of public it creates? But I understand the conundrum, because I really enjoyed the clips now, and I would watch them on YouTube, to be honest. No, I think it's like, but I'm not sure about how easy things should get, and I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't get all that. One point I'm asking. So this not getting paid. I mean, for me, it's not kind of a important point at all.
But that was her point.
No.
You are an elder artist.
Yes.
You have done kind of a lot of stuff to get where you are, and now you are well off, and you can afford to do this free label. You are kind of H&M. You are kind of
H&M. I'm in a position
H&M.
that I'm not asking any grants or anything like that, because I don't need money at the moment to survive. Like
But
it was
she-
before.
But I need the money.
Yeah, I know, but
And that was her question.
Oh,
And I think
what kind of example? Sorry.
No, what kind of
Samsung.
conditions you create in the art market for me?
Yeah,
Yes.
so that everybody else has to give it free too, because I'm giving.
yeah, you are kind of positioning yourself as H&M, who you do your clothes where they are cheapest,
Yes.
and you do bad things for her, who is being a local producer trying to create her stuff here in Finland with really expensive labor.
Yeah, well, then you have to ask what would be the better option. You were
I don't know,
saying-
but I was just trying to just hear what she was saying.
I
Yes.
think this is a very good point what Olga is saying, and I have been like maybe not with this word, but I mean this is a project that an older artist with a lot of state subsidy can afford.
Yeah, but
Yes.
okay, sorry. I was just thinking that how does that differ from like how Finnish museums or like institutions like Mältän Kuvataideviikot is treating us, because like they are part of the same logic of taking advantage of the artists. Like they provide privatized public spaces for us to display our work, and they don't give any compensation for it. So I don't see that this is like a separate issue from how in the art world these spaces are provided for artists for no compensation at all. Like one thing that I actually also thought that might be worth discussing is that like when we Sari and me did these experiments in 2003, like these spaces, like these platforms that were experimental, they were not public space because they were just very marginal experiments. And now like this whole like platform industry has become part of it has extended our private space so that it's we actually move quite seamlessly between this kind of privatized media platforms and privatized spaces in our urban environment, and in that sense, like they are like this question of like who owns these platforms and how they are created and for what purposes is also like it kind of insists in this discussion.
But I kind of see that, you know, if there is any chance to work kind of outside the commercial system, and I haven't seen any good option to that, and like I'm in a situation, if I don't put this material out, it will never come out probably, or it will be very partial ways that I would, you know, go to the same old way of exhibitions and trying to get, and this is just a too huge material that is only kind of medium there it could appear is internet, and if there would be this kind of you know, ethically good solution, of course, that works, then that's fine, but I don't see other media than internet because it's such a huge.
I think what Jouko said about this, like, you know, that this piece is like it's just not videos that you put out in the YouTube, but like YouTube is it's part of your work, or your work is like it's integral. You can't separate those. That platform is it structures your work in many ways.
Yes.
So I think that I'm coming to the conclusion that even though I think that like this platform has a lot of problems and like really, and it raises really serious political questions, that like I'm voting for doing it anyway because
me too.
Yeah.
Obviously I do.
So why can't you discuss about this? I mean,
Sorry.
Why couldn't you discuss about these problems?
In
my
video channel.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, that I can see that if I get some public, I can, like Lena with her demonstrations was bringing these different issues with the placket. The same way, I have a platform for bringing out all kinds of issues, and that's one issue, of course, that being critical from the inside. But that's the how.
I mean, I could think of a situation where there's one day from 1990 or 2000 where you have, you know, naked kids, and then you need to decide to omit it, to censor. So then you can talk about this.
Yes.
It could be, I mean, an issue there. And
yeah, I think so. That, you know, when there comes up just a black picture, I can talk in the black.
Yeah, you can explain why it is,
yes,
it is black, and
yeah.
what is the platform and the problems there.
Yes, of course. Yes.
That would be interesting also.
Yes.
Missing puzzles.
Yeah, that's what I meant, that the puzzle is this kind of, that you can, in the holes that are there, you can add there something that is missing.
And do you have to commit yourself to YouTube for 10 years? You could say that you're committed doing this type of work.
Social media.
And you're looking for a better platform.
Who knows what happens after 5 years?
Yeah.
There might be some other platform.
YouTube can be shut down.
But isn't there some value in kind of like letting the material be polluted in the way that you shit it out in the most like popular and most like full of shit type of environment?
But in any case, you need a backup platform, I guess.
Do I need?
Backup platform, not just one platform.
Yes, of course.
So Vimeo can be another alternative still.
Yeah. Yes, I would not do only there, but of course somewhere to find the community or the public, and then it's kind of easier to think about that you know the work by YouTube, and then you can come to another place. But the other way around is much more difficult. Kind of invite people. That's main reason is that somehow open it and then see what are the options.
I must say that I'm so proud of knowing all you, and I'm so enormously thankful to have such a clever and generous people as you are.
I'm not sure if you are. I will translate. She's no more convinced than before. She's on board.
Okay, shall this be the end?
The end,
We cannot go further. We have to maybe take one value then. It means sleep overnight.
But anyway, interesting discussion, maybe good material for you.
Generation film.
Kiitos.
At least for that.